Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today on the show, we have Russell Starr from Trillium Gold Mines back on to chat with us. But before we bring Russell on, just a quick reminder to tap on that subscribe button. Hey, Russell, welcome back to The Dive.
Hey, Cassandra, always happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. Okay, so let's start with Afghanistan. We're starting to see China and Russia seemingly have stronger relations with the new regime than the US. Do you think the way the US exited Afghanistan has an implication for the overall strength of the US as a world power?
Um, Look, all of these, as bad as the media, as bad as it is in the media, in terms of people dying, people perishing, the U.S. is clearly in a very difficult situation where it really looks to me like China and Russia have the upper hand globally, both from a currency commodities perspective. Um, with all of the disastrous monetary policy that's being executed in the U.S., I just don't think they can afford to be everywhere in the world right now. What does that mean for the US? Hopefully, it means that they get their own house a little bit more in line at home, and they deal with this incessant money printing issue that is truly destroying their relative power, purchasing power from a global currency perspective. But yeah, it's what we're seeing now is just a nightmare in terms of policy execution.
Totally. Okay, so we're starting to see some central banks pick up gold purchases. Do you think gold may
Yeah.
have turned a corner?
Look, I still can't believe gold is where it's at with everything that's going in the world. Even crypto, Bitcoin's not even rallying per se on all of this. It just seems like everybody believes day in and day out that no matter what happens, tech stocks are just going to keep going higher. And until those actually turn, I really don't see the gold market going crazy bid. That being said, everything's in place. Like a lot of economists were calling for slack to make up the difference in these inflation numbers. But the problem is that COVID continues to still haunt global ports everywhere. So as long as the world is fighting COVID on one front and issuing money on the other, I think the status quo will reign, and you're probably safe to be long the U.S. exchanges. But there will be a time where that changes, and I was just talking to someone yesterday. They were like, inflation is still a sub 4%. I was like, no, if you actually look at the real numbers that they used to look at like a decade or 2 decades ago, inflation is well through 10% in the US. So I don't know how they dig themselves out of the hole. All I know is that at some point gold will rally, and with it, so will all of us juniors.
Totally. Okay, so on Friday, the August non-farm payroll report will be published. The Federal Reserve is keeping an eye on the labor market recovery to see when it's time to tighten monetary policy. How are you monitoring the Fed's actions moving forward? Do you think they're trapped?
Yeah, they're trapped, and this is all lip service, trying to keep everything happy. They can't raise interest rates because by raising interest rates, it increases the borrowing costs that they incur, and the government's basically broke already. So this is just their way of trying to jawbone down the equity markets, try to take some froth out of the market. But the reality is, austerity is coming any way you cut it. Even here in Canada, when you listen to Justin Trudeau and the garbage he spouts about, don't worry about the debt because our interest rates are low. Well, guess what, buddy? Interest rates move higher when you're dealing with the kind of inflation that the U.S. is exporting, as well as China, and ultimately that's going to result in higher commodity prices everywhere, higher gold prices everywhere, and rampant inflation. And I just can't believe that these are policies that these countries are embarking on, ours included. Yes, I get it, but you're effectively selling the future to pay for today. And I'm not a big fan of that.
Okay, so let's talk about Trillium Gold. The company announced the completion of a $5 million brokered private placement, which was led by Red Cloud Securities Inc. and 8 Capital. Where will the company intend to use the net proceeds?
Yeah, that's an easy answer. All of that money is going to go into the ground in terms of drilling or exploration. That's what every company should be doing. Yeah, we're going to have to pay a little bit of G&A, but 80, 90 cents of every dollar goes into the ground, and we'll continue to do that because building out Newman Todd, building out Rivard, building out Gold Center, those are our key objectives right now. So Into the
Very
ground is the
exciting.
easy answer. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so the company has also entered a non-binding letter of intent with Infinite Ore Corp. What does this mean for Trillium Gold?
Well, look, we've been trying to put back together the Confederation Greenstone Belt, which is the belt that Dixie sits on, and at the other end, Prosper Gold is making what many people believe to be a major new discovery. So we're going to have a major discovery at one end of the belt, a major discovery at the other end of the belt. We'll own everything in between. I don't understand how people are selling us down here. I guess they're just simply like, I'd rather put my money into crypto. Perhaps maybe that's the opportunity cost. But the reality is we have a world-class company just in that Confederation belt. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we close on that transaction.
Awesome. Okay, so one more thing before you go here. We have to ask
Yeah,
about
sure.
Bitcoin. Since the last time we spoke, Bitcoin is up substantially, albeit
Yep.
with more talk of regulatory bodies getting involved. How do you view Bitcoin here?
I think crypto and DeFi are the future of the world. I think gold's going to be a big part of that as well. And I think it's only a matter of time before you see, all sorts of ETF type products built to mimic the price of Bitcoin. And as you see that retail flow come into the Bitcoin market and institutional flow, because those will be listed equities, I think you see Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all these other DeFi protocols spiking substantially. I think we're in inning maybe 1 of 9, and just starting to see the first signs of institutional capital come to work in those markets.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show again today, Russell.
You bet. Thanks for having me, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow with more great content, so be sure to turn those notifications on.